Okay, hello everybody. This is Ariel Johnson with you again on behalf of 40 Acres News Media. I am here today with Miss Rose Jones, and she is the founder of Children and Family Institute here in Dallas, Texas. They will be celebrating 25 years of offering adoption services to the area on Friday, November the 2nd. So we're here to talk to you a little bit about that big celebration banquet that's coming up, and also about her organization. So hi.
Thank you.
How are you doing, Ms. Jones?
Good.
Good to see you again.
Yes, I'm excited to talk about Children and Family Institute.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell me, you started this 25 years ago. What was it like 25 years ago opening up this type of business for the community?
Well, after working for Child Protective Services in adoption and foster care, finding homes for children in the foster care system, the Lord put it up on my heart to start Children and Family Institute to complete a gap in the community. Children of color, particularly African American children, were hard to place in adoptive homes. So I just wanted to do something different, and so I stepped out on faith and started the agency because I wanted to see more children of color being placed in adoptive homes.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. Could you tell us what some of the reasons may have been 25 years ago or today for it to be so hard to place a black child in an adoptive home?
Well, 25 years ago, gosh, when I think about that, 25 years ago, it appeared to me that not enough recruitment of families of color, particularly African American children, there weren't any, to me it wasn't enough efforts being put into it, going into the churches, going to different events and actually looking for families. And I had that desire. I wanted to find families and screen them in and not out, because you can have all these different guidelines and different things about how to screen a family in. I'm not talking about somebody with a criminal history or something like that, but families that's just making a decent living, and they're good people. You know what I mean? So it was just difficult working for CPS to find families like that under the CPS rules and everything. So, okay. And today, unfortunately, it's still a lot of African American children that are needing homes, and a lot of African American children are disproportionately placed in the system. And there's a whole nother story behind that as well. We need families to know how to parent their children. We need families to know how to make good decisions. Right. There's a lot of preventive things that need to be happening now to keep these children from being removed from their families.
So look, let me ask you a question. Again, you've been doing this for 25 years.
At Children and Family Institute, yes. 25 years and 7 years at CPS.
Wow.
So 32 years.
Yeah.
Wow, yes.
32 years. 32 years. So what I wanted to ask you is, this represents that you're not a business that just came along. No. In other words, you're here, you made your mark, I don't know how many families you must have helped, but what has helped to give you that longevity in this business?
First of all, like I said, it's one of my callings. You have to have a passion and a desire to do things to make you just continue to have that perseverance to keep going. You have to have faith and you have to believe. And when people say no, to me, no is like, what's next? Because if God gives me a vision and He tells me, yes, I can do it, and I believe that, He will provide for you. But it has to be in the right call and in the right purpose and for the right reason. Have to be. You got to want to.
Right.
And believe it.
Right.
And even when you fail sometimes, you get back up and do it again. And I have failed sometimes. But you don't let that stop you. You don't let that stop you when you're called.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And we need more African Americans to step out in faith and implement those businesses and ideas that God has put into their spirit, into their soul, and not be afraid. People are so afraid of failing.
Right.
But when you got God,
Right.
oh, backing you, oh, yes, ma'am. And this is, I don't get to preach in here, but God is good. That's the main reason.
Okay.
But yeah, people can do it. That's the reason that we've been here.
Okay. So, say for instance, a family shows an interest in a child that needs a home, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, well, we don't know anything about raising kids, or they feel they may be rusty because their kids moved out 10, 20 years ago. Do you have classes?
Yes.
That you provide?
Yes.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about those classes?
Well, I'd like to tell you first about our adoption program.
Yes.
We have the adoption program where we provide homes for the children that are in the foster care system, and that doesn't cost any money to adopt these children, and we'll take you through a complete training program. If you're thinking about it, if you've never parented before, we're going to help you do an assessment on yourself to find out your motivations for wanting to adopt, and then we're going to train you on the type of different characteristics these children bring with you. What type of child that you can and cannot parent. Right. And right now, 80% of our adoption are what you call kinship adoption.
Okay.
Where the grandparents, uncles, and aunts are coming forward to adopt these children. And I love that. We've been doing it for the last 5 years, and it is such a blessing to see these children to continue to be connected to their biological family, healthy biological families.
Right.
So yeah, we have training for those families as well, and support services. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to come back sometime and talk about that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
One thing that I do know is that being adopted for a child at any age can really brighten that child's life.
Absolutely.
I recall a family member of mine who had 2 children that she decided to take into her home. Mm-hmm. It wasn't anything formal, it's just that she knew that the mother could not provide for the children at the time. But maybe 5 to 7 years later, mm-hmm. they went through the formalities of getting the paperwork together. The boy may have been about 12 at that time when mm-hmm. the paperwork went through, and the little girl may have been about 7 or 8. Mm-hmm. And they went through this process of changing the last name to my family member's last name.
Yes.
And they were really celebrating, because the last name happened to be Love. Yes. So they're like, we got family now. We got a real family now.
Absolutely.
They had been living in the home for years, but mm-hmm. that meant something very special to them.
So you said mm-hmm. that they lived in the home as a foster child first.
Right.
And see, that's just it. Once you go to court and adopt these children, mm-hmm. they become a legal part of that family. Mm-hmm. Foster care, the state can move them out anytime. Right. But once you adopt them, they become a legal part of that family. You get the same last name as that family. And you celebrate that every year, and they know they're not moving again. That's why they were so excited. Right. And of course, the adopted family had that love for them.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's just beautiful. God ordains adoption, girl.
He does.
He knew people weren't going to be able to. Every child that born into this world, the parents weren't going to be able to raise them. So adoption is a spiritual, wonderful thing.
Good.
So
I want you to tell us about this banquet here.
Okay. We're celebrating 25 years of providing adoption services and support services. And the event is going to be held at the Sheraton Hotel, November the 2nd, 2018. And you can go to www.cfiservices.org, and you can register and purchase a ticket. Mr. Roland Parrish is going to come and speak to us about fatherhood and about entrepreneurship. Although this is an adoption agency, you have to know how to take care of your children financially, socially, and spiritually. This is not just going to be a regular banquet. He's going to share his heart, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going to take notes.
That's exciting.
Absolutely.
That's
exciting.
So
again, and if you want more information, you can call 214-337-9979 or go to the website at cfiservices.org.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Now I got one question for you. Again, since you've been here for 25 years, you have had an opportunity to see some children that have come through your adoption agency mm-hmm. reach adulthood.
Yes.
So I want to know if any of them have ever come back to you, or you followed up with them, located them to see how life is.
Yes, as a matter of fact, a few of them are going to be coming to the banquet. And of course, every once in a while, people send us cards and updates about how their children are doing. There was one particular adoption where this young man, he had been into 12, of course we can't name names or anything, but he had been into 12 homes before,
Wow.
foster homes, and one adoptive home before he went into this last home.
Okay.
And right today, he has graduated from high school, and he's on his own and providing for himself. See, a lot of our children, if they don't have the stability that they need, and when you grow up in foster care, you no longer have that continuous connection with a family. And sometimes you don't get the skills you need to be the best person that you can be, and you end up in another system called the criminal system.
That's right.
And we don't want that. So yes, we've seen a lot of successful stories about these children being in the place they need to be nurtured, to be all that God created them to be.
Good.
It's a wonderful thing.
That's beautiful. I really would like to have an opportunity to speak with them one day. If that's something that you can arrange, we would love to do that.
Mm-hmm.
We would love to do
And
that.
November is Adoption Month, and I'll see if we can possibly do that.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I want to thank everybody for tuning into 40 Acres News Media. Remember, this banquet is coming up on Friday, November the 2nd. Starts at 6 p.m. They're going to have a silent auction. Please come out and support the organization. Thank you again, Ms. Jones.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
No problem. Thank you.